In this video, I need to make my 2CV's headlamps work much better than they currently do. Woo! So the problem with the headlamps is the headlamp switch itself, which I will bring you into said vehicle. The problem is when you go to the main beam setting, you can see the main beam light here. It's yeah, what happens is it actually just kills all the lights entirely. So we're on main beam at the moment, but you will note there is no illumination of any kind. There isn't even the side lights. So that indicates a problem in the switch. I've got a replacement switch. I'm going to try and just replace the internals, but we'll see what I discover when I start digging in. I've already started disassembling the spare switch I have. So we'll keep doing that. We'll head over to the workbench, seeing as I actually have something approaching a workbench these days. Naturally, it's starting to disappear under a sea of stuff already because I'm me. That's a very long cable because I want to get some Wi-Fi going on here. But I'll see if I can get you set up and we'll start dismantling the switch because it's came in my spares stash. It's going to need a bit of a clean, so we'll get that done. Let's see if I can put you on here. Oh, so much rubbish, so much HubNut. Right, so if we bring you down, hopefully you can actually see what's going on. This is the switch. It's already taken one of the screws out, which is in the car. So take all this out, and we have the switch. There's a contact board which is on the car at the moment, and this drum is responsible. As you rotate it, it goes to the different settings. You can see this one's got a fair bit of wear on it, but hopefully it's not as bad as the one I'm taking out. Right, just clip the two halves together, just holding that in my hand, but already I can feel that feels a lot tighter, so that I think I will use this one. This screw is how it attaches to the dashboard, so we'll go over to the automobile and see what's going on at that end. Right, let's see how this goes then. I've disconnected the battery for safety reasons. First of all, we get the indicator stalk off. The indicator stalk just clips in on this side, and I'm going to undo the bolt. Apparently I'll leave everything finger tight. It holds the switch to the car. Yeah, I've disconnected the battery because we've got on the normal 2CV this will be completely unfused. As it happens, I've got relays and fuses fitted, but yeah, it's better to be safe rather than sorry, is it not? But if we go back to the top position there, I've just got so much play going on, so I think my switch is just worn out. So we'll undo this one and show you the internals and what actually makes the electric go places. It is quite a confusing headlight system on a 2CV. The stalk has two positions for dip beam. There are two markings. There's V for veal or town, and that switches between side lights and dip beam. And then there's route, which is R, and route stands for, well, route, it's when you're out of town on the main routes, the route nationals, and that switches between dip beam and main beam. My brain is not quite working today. I wasn't actually going to record a video because I didn't think my brain was up to it, but nonetheless, here we go. People think I just turn the camera on and the magic just automatically happens, but no, my brain does actually have to do something, believe it or not, and today it really can't be bothered. Also, the sound of a tractor in the background is particularly jarring today, but it's not all bad. Had a ginger cat in here today. That was pleasant. So here we go. We are in to the board. So now we can see how the various functions work. We've got all the wires on the bottom of the switch. Let's see if I can zoom in. Getting dangerously artistic here. So yeah, here's all the wires that control all the various features. We've got the 3 different light positions: side light, dip beam, main beam, and also the horn is on the presser. So that's on this contact here. So yeah, it's all very simple. As you can see, when I press the horn switch, it brings these two contacts together and horn noise occurs. And it is possible for these contacts to get bent so that they contact permanently. That happened with Ellie once, many years ago. I had to disconnect the horn at the horn end. So yeah, you got all these various little brass, well, I suppose they're brass, it looks like copper, contacts that rub on the light switch, and there's plastic or there's metal that does look like brass, depending on what function you need to operate. So you rotate the switch. Oh, it's going to try and fall out because I've got it open, and that one's now blanked off, and that one's now blanked off, but that one turns on something down here, but it's very, very worn. So I'm just going to remove just the headlamp switch. Actually, before we do anything, let's go back to the off position, because otherwise it's all going to get very confusing very, very quickly. And so that's off. 0 pointing upwards is our default position there. We'll get this out and we can assess the wear on this, and it is fairly considerable. I think I have already changed this switch, because at one point I was running headlamps with no relay, and that really does put a very high load through the switch. But you can see here, look, terrible wear on that brass contact. Right, now I've just got to try and hold it in the right place, but yeah, you can see terrible wear there. Let's grab the other stalk, which I have put back in the box, and see how it compares. So at that same junction point, yeah, we can see this stalk has very little wear by comparison. That's still in good order, whereas that, yeah, that seems very worn. Generally, I think this switch has seen a lot less use by the look of it. Give it a slight clean up, but otherwise I think that'll be good to go. So I'm going to change the plastic as well, again, because these detents have worn as well. This is a little detent that the stalk has to click over that to get into the two positions. So we're going to change that as well. We'll better have a look at the actual circuit board, which requires a change of focus. So it's worth having a look at the state of these contacts, and yeah, they're not all that pretty, to be honest. There's a lot of wear going on in there. Right, I've started reassembly, a bit fiddly, but we are getting there. And it's interesting to me that the 2CV has a headlamp operated light controller. It did since the very start of production in 1949, and quite advanced really, I think. At a time when most cars had a foot operated dip switch to operate the main beam, here was the 2CV with a switch that you operated flicking your hand from the steering wheel. So when you've got it set in the right place, that's main beam, and you just flick it away to go back to dip beam. So we're now at the stage where we can test whether this is actually working. I need to reconnect the battery. That would be quite a good thing to do. Right, let's see what we're at then. Horn first of all. Yep, that would seem to be functioning. We shall go for the side light position. Did that work? I'm not convinced that has worked. No, we don't seem to have anything at all going on. So this is another HubNut success story then. Okay, this might be my fault. I think this new one might actually be suffering quite badly from running unfused headlamps. Try and focus. It's got some really bad pitting on it, I think, where the headlamp switch would sit. So that might not be very helpful. Yeah, I can see some really bad pitting just there as well. So that's not great condition. And another discovery, and I think possibly the source of the problem, is there has to be some movement in the switch. There we go. But the one I've taken off, that play is much more there's a lot more of it. I think too much of it. So I'm tempted to see if I can do something about that. I'm not sure if those are springs. I think these are springs, but yeah, maybe I need another shim in there to try and tighten the switch up, because I think that might be the problem. Well, that was an entertaining half hour or so. What I've done is these metal springs here, I have swapped their position. I've flipped them over, and that seems to have made it a lot tighter. So hopefully that'll do the job. Of course, being HubNut, what I actually did, it's all held together, this stalk, by a little split pin here on the end, and I managed to drop it after dismantling the stalk. So that was hilarious. Obviously I laughed and laughed. So reminder, this is the old stalk that I've tried to refresh and make work again. I need to try and get the stalk back on its mounting there. There's about 600 things to line up here, and none of them are lining up very well. Stalk out again then. Lovely. Oh, bloody thing. This is one of those occasions where I really should go home for lunch and start again, because this is just rubbish. I'm not even showing you anything. Why the fuck am I even doing this? I accidentally got a bit hangry before lunch. Lunch has been dealt with. Now I'm feeling better. I had chocolate and something else, not just chocolate. But if I get you back down, we shall start trying to reassemble the switch again. I'll just pick up all the bits I threw on the floor in a stupid childish strop. There we go. Lock that on that little nodule there. Now I should be able to get the top half on. There's a surprising number of things to line up, which makes this slightly interesting. And the stalk has just pinged out of something, I feel. Yes, it has just pinged right out of where it should be. That's helpful. Stay there, stalk. Everything is in. Let's whack the screws in and we'll see if we've got any lights this time. Once I've remembered to reconnect the battery, because that would be a stupid fail. 1 screw, 2 screws, 3 screws. Et voila. Are we feeling lucky this time? Let's just pink it around there more for convenience than anything. Let's go side lights. Side lights we have. Let's go headlights. Yeah, I can see on the deck chair in front we have headlights. Let's go main beam. We've still got that issue going on in the main beam position. Okay, so all that work, we've achieved nothing. That's great. Oh, now something's gone very wrong. We've got main beam on permanently. Oh, there we go. Something killed off. Anyway, right, I guess I'll be doing that all over again. This is a job that just keeps on giving. Right, let's see if that's done the trick. I'd actually got the horn contacts wedged into the stalk, so that wasn't helping, but we've got horn working nice now. If I flick once, we have headlights, we have side lights, and we can flick between the two. Oh no, we just lost the side lights. That contact is still a bit iffy there. And then we got main beam, sorry, dip beam, main. Oh, it's still doing it. Yeah, I've achieved absolutely nothing. Joy. Well, I'm back for another go getting the headlamp sorted. I had to give up yesterday. I just had to walk away because yet again a simple job became unsimple. Now my plans when I got here this morning were to grab my spare headlamp contact board out of the old switch. It was still attached to the wiring loom. I've tried getting it out, but it's obviously got damp at some point. All the screws are rusted in, so that ain't happening. So I need to try and make this work. I can't work out quite what has gone wrong, but I'll try to talk you through it. I've got to keep the roof on today, so I haven't done anything about the weather blowing in, and there is a lot of weather today. It is most unpleasant. Quite Welsh today. Oh, let's zoom you out, that might help. So yeah, I've got a problem in here somewhere. There is absolutely no power going through the switch at the moment. I'm not sure what that's all about. The fuses check out there okay, but I've got the horn, but absolutely nothing in the way of lighting. So I'm going to have to take it apart again. Let's see if I've had any joy this time. Side lights. Haha, we have side lights. Main beam, sorry, dip beam. Yep, and I can see that on my deck chair, which I'm using to test what the headlamps are doing. So that's good. So we'll switch to the second headlight position, go to main beam. There we go, I've got my blue light on. It's staying on. Dip, main, dip, main, dip, main. Aha! I might finally have done it. I think all I've done is I've bent one of the contacts away from the barrel so there was no electricity coming through it. But that's certainly looking like better times all round. Now all I've got to do is replace the fuse I destroyed yesterday while trying to see whether the fuses were okay. Really wasn't a good day yesterday. I managed to bark my shin quite severely on a box that I fell over. It was one of those days where I should have just walked away before it even started, to be honest. So see if I can find a replacement fuse and we can call that job done. So yeah, there we go. We've seen the innards of a 2CV light switch, and as someone said in the comment recently, continue to put the ham in ham-fisted. So there we go. This is reality. Yes, I did get in a paddy about something I really shouldn't have got a paddy about. And I've come in this morning and it's been sorted in super quick time. It really wasn't an issue. It's probably the best bit of advice I can give people working on cars is you will have days where nothing goes right and you just can't sort out something you know is simple. The only thing to do is walk away and just come back to it fresh. I will admit it is the luxury you get with a garage is you can just down tools and walk away. If you're working on your driveway, that's a bit more difficult, especially if the weather turns inclement. So I appreciate that's not always possible, but it is the best thing to do if you can. Because yeah, brains are stupid things and we beat ourselves up over the stupidest things sometimes. But I'm glad to have that sorted. Hopefully driving Ellie at night will now be much less terrifying, because yeah, it has been awful. I probably could have got away with just bending the contacts initially. I think I was trying to change too much stuff. I don't think I needed to. I have proved, I hope, that one of the issues is that especially if you're not running relays, you've got an awful lot of electricity going through that switch and it will burn out the contacts. So relays on most old cars are a very sensible modification to make. On the 2CV we also add an inline fuse to fuse the headlights, because otherwise they are not fused at all, and that's how they were from the factory. And this is one of the things, if you're going to use an old car fairly regularly, there's definitely a lot you can do. The electronic ignition, headlamp relays, yeah, there's things you can do. I mean, Pete Sparrow on his own 2CV, heated windscreen for better visibility. There's an awful lot you can do to make using older cars a little painless without losing what makes these cars special. And as much as I like my new Rover 75, it can't compare to driving this car. The sheer simplicity and the joy you get from that simplicity, yeah, is what it's all about. Anyway, I'm waffling. I've now fixed my headlights. I'm a happy boy. I can now go and edit up a video on a Ford Granada, so looking forward to that, and I'll look forward to seeing you in a future video. This has probably appeared after the Granada, but there you go. This is the way the sequence goes sometimes. Don't forget you can head to the HubNut store. We've got lovely merchandise. I think we've still got some anniversary stock. We've got next year's calendar is now in stock. Beanie hats. It's now approaching the time of year where a beanie hat seems a good idea. So yeah, check out the store. Visit hubnut.org and you'll see a link to the store. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell.